So I may have done something a little bit stupid. As I'm sure you guys and girls do, peruse eBay every now and again, and I've got a few saved searches for things that are interesting. Something popped up on my list that was interesting, and I don't have space for it, and I don't really have much experience with things of this particular generation, but it was definitely interesting. It seems to be in good condition, fairly well looked after. It came fairly complete as well. And the thing that swung it for me was that because it was collection only, it had already been listed twice and not sold. And the seller had advised the lister saying, this is the third time I've put it on. If it doesn't sell this time, it's going in the skip. And I really just could not let that happen. And hopefully you'll agree with me that doing that would have been such a waste. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you what I found. I've literally not turned it on, and we'll maybe do that depending on how it looks, with whether it's safe or not to do so. And beyond that, I have no kind of expectations about what it is or how it's going to work, and I don't have anywhere to put it. So it's a bit of a problem if it does work, because I'm going to have to find somewhere for it. But it's such a what I think an interesting thing, and some would say beautiful thing, that I just couldn't let it go in the skip. So I'll reposition the camera and then you can have a look, see what you think. So here we are. This doesn't really give much away, does it? But should we take the dust cover off and have a look? All right. It's a Commodore PET. Specifically, it's an 8032. So this is the 80 column 32 megabyte version. It had the dust cover on it for most of its life by the looks of it. It's in pretty good condition. There's a little bit of dust down on the keyboard where the dust cover wasn't covering it. But I thought that putting this in the skip was, was definitely not the right thing to do. Now, the reason I say it came complete is that not only did I get this, but I also got the following. So it also came with this lovely disk drive unit. So this is the 4040. It's kind of the mid-rangey one, I think, from what I understand. And it came with a lead as well, which was extremely useful. I think sometimes you get these units and they don't have leads. This wasn't in a dust cover of any kind as far as I know, but still looks in pretty good condition. The only thing that worries me about this is that the cover's loose. I don't know if someone's been in there trying to fix it at some point in the past, so this may or may not work. We shall try and find out. But also, it came with this. So, an original Commodore 3022 printer, also with a lead. So the printer is the one thing I did briefly test because it's got a power on self-test. So if you hold down the feed button, I think it was, when you power it on, it does an auto self-test, starts printing out. And it did that, but as it was starting to go along, it started to get slower and slower. So I think the internal mechanism for the head needs lubricating, but it seems to be working. Again, it comes with its correct lead. So basically, that's what I've got, but that's actually still not everything, because it came with some very cool user manuals. So I've got the user manual for the floppy disk drive and the guide for the basic and for using the computer itself. It also came with some slightly interesting software, including the assembler and some floppy disks. So that's really, really interesting. It's got the original disks here in the back, which is nice. I don't know if they're working, obviously. So overall, I thought that was a good rescue from a skip. Hopefully you agree with me. I've got no idea where I'm going to put it or store it. I've got no idea whether it works. I think what we're going to do now is turn on the main computer and just see what happens. I've got very low expectations of it coming on, but it has been stored in a relatively good condition. It's been stored in a house, not a shed. It had the dust cover on it. So if there's anything wrong with it, it's related to the age of the components inside, RAM chips, etc. But let's tidy this lot away, give it a go. if the computer fires up, we're also going to try this floppy disk drive. I'm not sure we're going to get them working both together today, even if they are both functional, but I think we can explore that in a future video. But let's just tidy these up, get the main unit back, switch it on and see what happens. So having seen videos of these being used and maintained inside, there are some very large capacitors on the power supply. If one of those goes, I suspect there'll be quite a big bang, quite a lot of smoke, and I have got a fire extinguisher nearby, but I'm really hoping that that doesn't happen. Best outcome really is that it doesn't come to life, and then we don't have to worry about doing an in-depth fix straight away. We are going to do a series of fixing this up at some point in the future, but today I'm just interested in whether it turns on or not. Now there is a power switch on the back. I haven't plugged it in though because the switch isn't labelled, so I don't know if it's on as soon as I plug it in. Should we find out? There we go. Okay, so nothing's happened. Now, maybe because the switch is off, maybe because it just doesn't work, don't know. Let's find out. Okay, so I've heard the monitor degauss. There's no other moving parts in here, so it is going to be silent. But nothing seems to be happening. We're not getting anything on the screen. There's no beeps. Oh, there was a little beep. There's no smoke, so I think that's a bonus. I don't know what that little shrill noise meant, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. There's nothing on the screen. Touch the case and I'm not getting any voltage off that, so that's a good thing. There is one knob on the back, which I'm guessing is a brightness knob. Let's see if that makes any difference to the display. No. So I think it is actually half dead. So I'm guessing something to do with the monitors not working correctly, because we don't have even a dim light come on the monitor. Motherboard might be working because we heard that shrill noise. Oh, interesting. Now we have something on the screen. We don't have what we're supposed to have on the screen. Perhaps those lytic capacitors took a little while to charge up. There's a couple of little marks on the screen where it's been scratched. It's got this weird kind of textured anti-glare coating on it, and it's been scratched in a few little places. Still no smoke. Completely silent. Apart from the echo of the keyboard. Nothing seems to be happening. Okay, screen's come on though. Let's power cycle it and see if anything else springs to life. There's a faint smell of dusty electronics, but not of smoke. So we're getting the same screen as we got earlier. The geometry isn't very good. So there's definitely something wrong with the video driving circuitry in terms of the high voltage side on the monitor. Not getting any beeps for syntax errors. I don't know if that's normal, whether that shows that the motherboard is not working at all. Anyway, it doesn't appear to be working, but equally it hasn't exploded and killed us, so that is partial success really. I think that's as best as it could have been. We'll just quickly try turning on the disk drives just to see what happens with them. So obviously we've got the data lead that goes to the edge connector on the PET. We don't need that. We do need the power lead. It all looks in pretty good condition. It's not dirty or particularly dusty or anything. The outside of the case is pretty clean. I don't know what this red indicator light is. Is that normal for these? I don't remember seeing it before on pictures, but I may not have been looking very closely. This does open, so what I'm going to do is open it before we turn it on, see what's inside. So there is a little stand here, isn't there? How does that work? Aha, there's a little hole here for it to go in. Perfect. All right, so here we have the motherboard. I think this must be some power regulation as well. Massive transformer here at the back. 2 massive capacitors, and then the 2 drives, which are dusty on the inside. I think it's going to need a service before we attempt to actually use it. But it actually all looks complete. Everything's plugged in. I don't think anybody has been inside here playing with it, even though the case was loose. The LED looks like it's directly connected to the power transformer, so that's just a power on-off indicator by the looks of it. There is a separate power switch on the back of this as well. The circuit board at the top looks really clean because it's obviously been inverted for all of its life. What do you reckon? Should we turn it on, see what happens? We can turn it on with the case open, which would be interesting if anything exciting happens, but it's also possibly more dangerous if anything exciting happens. So I think we'll close the case up just to find out. There we go. So it seems to be complete and mechanically functioning. Let's plug it in. So in this case, the power switch was on. We have indicator lights here, 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 and here. They're staying on. I'm suggesting that's probably a bad thing. But knowing nothing about these disk drives, I don't know whether that's supposed to be normal, whether that lasts a few seconds, then they move on. The slight asymmetry of the case here, there's a big gap here and no gap here. I don't know if that's normal for these. It doesn't look like the case is bent or anything. And I assume the drives can only go in one way, so I'm guessing that's normal, but it's a little bit odd in terms of design. There's no smell of smoke, there's no visible smoke. And let's power cycle it, see if we get a different response. But again, it looks like maybe this isn't functioning either. So all 4 lights have come back on again. So I think that's kind of normal, abnormal for this device. I'll need to read through the manual. If we look inside, don't want to touch anything obviously because it's all mains voltage at the back. I suspect what's happened here is that some of these memory chips have become corrupted and therefore it can't initialize properly. There's actually 2 CPUs in here and a bunch of memory. There's actually more processing power in here than there is in the actual PET itself. So the chances are, there's a good chance something could have gone wrong in here because of the extra number of components that are involved. So, okay. Not complete success, but not a disaster. Nothing blew up, nothing caught fire. We don't have a working floppy or a working PET. We can work on that though. And as I said, it was much better that I collected it, and hopefully I can find somewhere to store it than it going to a skip. So there we go. Hopefully that was interesting. It's certainly interesting to turn it on for the first time for me, and we'll make some more videos when we take these apart and try and identify exactly what's wrong with each of them inside. Okay, see you next time.